This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Our friend Tom Murphy, who now joins us, Arkansas Democrat-Gazette and Whole Hog Sports. Tom, we are in Des Moines. Obviously, the big topic of the day is this basketball team, but spring football is always on the minds of fans. I wonder your thoughts on some of the things Sam Pittman said, including Taurean Carter being back healthy and kind of getting back in the rhythm of things.
Yeah, hi, guys. Always a pleasure. Yeah, I think they really missed Taurean Carter last year. We saw through spring that he was going to be an impact guy. When you watched him, pretty much every snap in spring, he was getting the first lick in on. I mean, even like Ricky Stromberg, he just had fast hands and he was creating penetration in the backfield, and we thought this kid's going to really break out. So they missed him. But I do think that having him and Cam Ball available and healthy is going to be a big deal for them because run stopping is going to be – he's talked about how they need to have 4 D-line bodies on the field, even if, one of them is a hybrid position, the jack/buck that he's been talking about. And Nico DeValiers looked really nice in that spot too. So, having a healthy Taurean Carter will be a big deal for this team.
Last couple of years, they've really hit on some transfers. I mean, you think back to initially Felipe Franks, and then last year there were 7, 8, 9 guys that ended up starting for this football team that came over in the portal. I mean, based on what's happened in previous years, are you expected a good majority of these guys to suit up and start this year?
Yeah, I mean, they're batting a really high percentage on the transfers they've had and how they fit in. You think of Jordan Dominic, you think of Drew Sanders, McLaughlin, leading the team in interceptions, and even coming back, which I thought was one of the biggest surprises of the last year's roster to this year's. And I want to correct the record on something I said Tuesday about Jaden Hazelwood. So Sam Pittman had made the comment that they might have made a mistake just putting him into the starting lineup. And I said, and what position was that? At the slot. And that's where Keytron Jackson was. That was wrong. Keytron was a wide guy last year. They were going to move him to the slot when he didn't come back. But still, I do think in all their exit interviews, that move probably maybe harbored some resentment from returning players last year. And so that would have been maybe like, the position was Bryce Stevens, Isaiah Satania, and that group of guys. So anyway, but their percentage on having big-time contributors from the portal, when you think about what Lorando Snacks Johnson might mean to them, he's played very well at corner so far, what we've seen. When Al Walcott gets healthy, also a Baylor transfer, what he's going to mean to the secondary. Singletary, the cornerback from Georgia, you would think would be in position to be a big-time contributor, and then Jeff Coate and Morgan on the D-line. It's a pretty lengthy list. And Braun, he's getting first-team reps. They even tried him at tackle the other day, but they feel like he'll more likely be a guard. So, yeah, they've stacked up some transfer chips that have been, very valuable for them.
Tom, what have you been able to take out of the parts you can watch and in the comments that have been made by the coaches at this point to measure the transition that is going on at quarterback between Dan Enos now being the OC and the veteran coming back in KJ Jefferson? How's that transition going with new OC and returning QB going?
Right. Well, KJ kind of summed it up the other day. And by the way, because there's been some, conflict between like the ending times of basketball games and baseball games and football practice, we've had Sam Pittman twice to talk to, and then we had KJ and Pooh Paul one day. So it's really been kind of a sparsity in dialogue so far. But when we get back from spring break, we'll talk to a lot more guys. But KJ talked about like a lot of different formations and movement, but basically keeping things simple is kind of the Dan Enos way. We've seen him be under center more frequently than probably in a Kendall Briles offense. But we've also seen, we've seen 2-back sets. We've seen 2 backs in motion. We've seen 1-back offset, motion into pistol. So all kind of different ways to move personnel around to try to get pre-snap clues on what the defense is up to. in a way, taking snaps under center is another step for KJ and trying to prepare for his professional career, but also to be a productive offense at Arkansas. So, there's a lot of spring left, and obviously all camp to see how this is all going to play out. But I guess the goal would be to improve KJ's productivity and his efficiency. But honestly, you look at his touchdown to interception, you look at his completion percentage, and KJ has been right up there. I've done radio shows recently with national guys, and Aaron Murray who played at Georgia specifically, who they just love KJ. And so a healthy KJ can take Arkansas football, where it's going to go.
Man, as you were describing those motions and under center and working on dropbacks and things, man, the words pro style just came to mind. I know that's one label that Dan Enos has had. Can we expect, as we get a little more visual and a little more understanding of what he's bringing, that might be a little more of the mix than we think with the RPO, and they're going to have to balance those two? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, most certainly that's part of Dan Enos' offensive DNA. But he also talked about, and Sam Pittman did, that working with Mike Loxley at Alabama, they got into the RPO game, and you have to be because you've got to slow the attack mode of certain of defenses, and the things you have to do is make them read because otherwise, if they're just coming at you, they can blow up the mesh plays and all kind of stuff. So, yes, I think what Dan Enos showed at Maryland proves that he's morphed into components of the RPO game, and you just basically have to be able to do that these days.
We're talking with Tom Murphy this morning, Arkansas Democrat-Gazette and Whole Hog Sports. Tom, let's talk about later on today, 3:30, Arkansas, Illinois. We've talked about Illinois front line. I know the Mitchell brothers have not had the same impact that they have as of late than maybe in the middle of the regular season. How important are those two today for Arkansas to advance? Well, they're really big, and I think with Nick Smith back, he's going to take a hefty percentage of the shots. So to me, working out your offense and making sure that when Ricky Council gets in the game, they get him involved. Driving to the hole, they were good when Anthony Black was driving all the way in and creating contact. They got to be a better free throw shooting team, but they also have to be able to run those little pick and rolls, the slip screens and stuff where the big guys get easy baskets. When Arkansas has been at its best, they've gotten Mekhi Mitchell involved in the offense. And a lot of ways that feeds into his shot blocking and his defense and, the confidence level and all that. So interesting that they're facing a team that is actually taller than them in Illinois. Will that bother Arkansas trying to drive in? I don't think so. I think that's going to be a huge part of their game plan is getting dribble penetration from the guards, trying to get defenses, to commit to them and then dishing and then having open guys on the wings to shoot threes on occasion as well. Tom, one of your colleagues at Whole Hog Sports wrote about Hunter Yurichek's renovation idea that he put forth in front of the Board of Trustees earlier this week. What are your thoughts on that possibility of not just happening, but the ideas that he's laid out? Well, yeah, Matt Jones told me he listened to the entire Board of Trustee meeting during the baseball game against UNLV on Tuesday. So, quite often the vision of the athletic director, the Board of Trustees likes to mirror that. And there was some, I guess, healthy dialogue and how you proceed, and we'll see how they take it from there. Yeah, they want to know how you're going to pay for it. That's what the board wants to know. All right, is how much and where are you going to get the money? That's their main questions. Tom, it's a great day. It's one of the best sports days of the year. Go enjoy it, and we'll talk to you next week, and hopefully we'll be talking about the Razorbacks in the Sweet 16. Yeah, that sounds outstanding. Thanks, guys. Have a good weekend.
BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting this season. Everything from the NFL and bowl season to esports. You'll find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable. We're the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite leagues and events. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BELIEVE to receive your rewards. That's BLEAV. Bet Online, where the game starts.